Many thanks everyone for staying with us. It's the 6th month of 2018 and we just have the Appropriation Act, the 2018 budget on our hands. What can the executive do with that, especially with the complaints that a lot of the policy being made and proposed have been slashed, some of the monies have been reduced, additional projects which are not properly designed have been inserted. Some of these controversies continue. Talking to us on the program about this is the lead partner and the co-founder of Budget, an organization that thinkers with the budget and put perspectives into data. Sean Onigbinde, he joins us from South Africa. Thank you so much, Sean, for your time on the program today. If you look at some of the things that the president, the concern that he raised on the issues of the addition and his concern about some of the major projects of the executive that are put in the budget, and now they have been slashed, the monies have been slashed. What do you make of what has happened between the executive and the legislature? It's not a matter of who is right, but exactly where are we headed?
I don't think we are heading in the right direction. In a democratic system, there are what you call democratic norms, which are implicit values and attitude that might not even be written in the Constitution. There's nowhere in the Constitution that is written that the executive and the legislature can have a joint conversation on the direction of the economy, can have a joint conversation on the kind of projects that should be put in the budget. But as responsible adults, this should be the conversation that should be having even in the back door prior to the presentation or even during the budget approval phase. And that is what we are not saying. And there still seems to be a mismatch of objectives. What you have seen is that the oil benchmark price was $45 per barrel. The National Assembly jacked that up to $51 per barrel. So the revenue cushion that was gotten from $6 per barrel was what the National Assembly used to propose new projects for themselves. And most of these projects are micro projects, as the president has said, which have to do with rural roads, primary healthcare centers, has to do with boreholes, and some of them are even be possibly less than 15 million. And the question we're asking is this within the federal government's purview? Is this within the federal government terrain? Because the budget itself should be a policy instrument. But what is clearly lacking it, despite the All Progressive Congress holding the majority in the two houses of assembly, despite them also controlling the executive, there is no common vision, no common interest on exactly what the people should get.
I mean, you understand the issues of policy. So when the National Assembly comes out with a statement like this, they said, and I quote, we have to remind the Mr. President that we are representatives of the people and wish to say that even the common man deserves a mention in the budget by including projects that will directly affect the life positively. Some of the projects designed by the executive, as high-sounding as the name suggests, do not meet the needs of the common man. So when the National Assembly says this, it does look like they're saying, we know more what the people want.
It's not about, it's about what's the responsibility of the federal government. That is what is first critical. You don't say that the federal government should be producing or should be developing or should be constructing every borehole in the country. That cannot work. Or should be involved in every rural road in the country. That cannot work. The federal government should be involved in big pipe infrastructure projects. The other projects that have been developed at the state and the local government budget. How we're going to feed in. There's already an 100 billion naira constituency project for the National Assembly to tinker with, to put whatever they think would benefit their people. There's already that budget. A lot of them have taken advantage of that. Some of them are even turned into elements of populism, naming it after themselves. House of Rep member Fem Mila recently did this by calling it Bajarite. They already have an 100 billion naira fund. So why would you be inserting new projects up to 578 billion naira again, as the president has alleged?
I mean, so for me, let's look at, for a moment, look at the major indices that forms the framework of this budget. For example, the benchmark, even the figure of this budget, the total amount of this budget have been jacked up by 500 billion naira, taking it to 9 trillion Nigerian naira. What do you make of this entirely, and what impact do you think this can make? We just have about 6 months, isn't it, to the end of the year?
Yeah, I think the budget will take a one-year cycle again, because implicitly what National Assembly is saying is that the budget is going to run for another 1 year. That means we might go through this continuous cycle until maybe there's a legal framework that underpins this. The bigger problem in here is that we might not have enough time to even deliver this budget, because by the time you move towards the last quarter of this year, you would see high-wire politics and the entire governance architecture will be put on the back seat. And I think that's really the first threat even to this budget. The second thing is this budget is on a huge pipe dream. If you look at the presentation of the Minister of Budget and National Planning today, the entire revenue of the federal government was less than 3 trillion naira. Now we're budgeting another 7.1 trillion naira as the revenue assumption for 2018. So are we going to triple, our revenue assumptions within 1 year? I don't think that's the solution. I don't think that's ever going to work. The problem really that I see is that we have to be steady. We need to ask ourselves, what exactly do we want? Because we're not on the right path. And within 7 trillion naira revenue that we have used to underpin a 9 trillion naira budget, I don't think that's even, there's a mismatch going on there. So National Assembly and the executive, they need to come together and work together. What is realistic within the budget time frame? What are the key projects that we need to deliver to the people?
All right.
And how do we get this to happen?
All right. Perhaps let's close this program on this note. If you look at the indices which makes a country develop and the growth that we anticipate as a people, as a nation, and the focus of this budget, if you look at some of the critical areas that this budget has focused on, do you think that this government really have prioritized his objectives and his goals in achieving growth and development?
I think some indices are still missing. What we have seen with the APC government is a government that is borrowing fast. It's a government that wants to spend high on infrastructure, and I still see that the social sector is still lagging. I mean, education is not where it's supposed to be, and if there's no coherent strategy on how to revamp or how to rethink the educational system in Nigeria, I don't think we're investing enough in health, even though we have a 55 billion naira additional funding from the National Health Act. I don't think that we are even putting enough money even into agriculture as much as it should be, or even how we are decentralizing even the expenditure for agriculture. So there's still a whole lot of loose. But what you see in the budget is that there's still funding on defense, there's huge funding on power works and housing as usual. There's huge funding on the part of the Interior Ministry. And so that's what you see. It's more investment in security and power works and housing. And also the deficit is widening. That means we are borrowing very, very fast. We need to be cautious also on that. Yeah.
All right. The government will tell you we're borrowing for the right reasons. All right, so we'll see how that all plays out. Onigbinde, it's always a pleasure talking to you. We can spend the whole day analyzing this budget. That's what you do for a living, isn't it? Thank you so much, Onigbinde, for talking to us from South Africa. We hope you'll be back in the country soon. So that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Onigbinde. Bye-bye.